Hi folks, it's Andy, the analytical preacher. There's this beautiful story that Luke captures in his gospel, and it speaks of a human who Jesus marveled at, or in whom Jesus was amazed. Let me read that account in Luke chapter 7, verses 1 to 10, before we discuss it really quickly. Luke begins the account this way. After he had finished all his sayings in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. Now a centurion had a servant who was sick and at the point of death, who was highly valued by him. When the centurion heard about Jesus, he sent him elders of the Jews asking him to come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they pleaded with him earnestly, saying, "He is worthy to have you do this for him, for he loves our nation, and he is the one who built us our synagogue." And Jesus went with them. When he was not far from the house, the centurion sent his friends, saying to him, "Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. Therefore I do not presume to come to you, but say the word, and let my servant be healed. For I too am a man set under authority, with soldiers under me. And I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes. And to my servant, do this, and he does it." Luke chapter 7, verse 9. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him. And turning to the crowd that followed him, said, "I tell you, not even in Israel have I found such faith." And when those who had been sent returned to the house, they found the servant well. Some translations, many translations for that Luke 7:9 will say, when Jesus heard these things, he was amazed at the man. So without going into all of the Bible college sermon details of this, basically this centurion was a Roman, not a Jew. He didn't practice the same religion as Jesus, but he obviously had an interest in the God of the Bible. At a minimum, he was very supportive of the people who follow the God of the Bible. But what I want to note here are not the details of this. What I want to note is that Jesus didn't say, "Wow, I marvel at the authority this centurion has or his power. I'm not amazed at some selfless act he's done, some courageous act. I'm not in awe of some inspiring feat or some flash of brilliance that he's done. I'm not amazed. I'm not marveling at the things the centurion has accomplished. Rather, Jesus was amazed. Jesus marveled. Again, not at what the centurion had done, but in the faith that the centurion had in what Jesus was capable of doing. Big difference with a huge application for our Christian lives. Jesus didn't marvel at what the man did, how pious or religious the man was. Jesus was amazed that the man had faith in what Christ could do. Obviously, as we think about that, how does that apply to us? And we have to say to ourselves, do we live our lives? Are our thoughts, our desires, our actions, does our checkbook or the receipts on our debit card, do they clearly demonstrate that we believe Jesus is working an eternal plan of redemption, an eternal plan of salvation, and that we are allowed to be a part of that plan? Do we truly believe that Jesus can and will use us as part of his eternal, ongoing, centuries-old plan of redemption for mankind and for creation? I think one way to put it is, are we staying in the middle of the lane, or are we bouncing off the guardrails on one side? And by that I mean this. I think for some of us, and I think at certain times, probably for many of us, there's been a lot of pride in our life. We're very arrogant. We have some success, and it kind of goes to our head, as they say. And we don't say it out loud. We certainly wouldn't pray this to God, but we kind of think, wow, if I take my charisma and my intellect and my work effort and my connections and my money, and I apply them to the kingdom, won't the kingdom be better off? Won't the church be happy? Won't that mission organization benefit if I give them money or join their board or do some other act? It's almost as if, without saying that part out loud, we're kind of like, wow, God must be glad I'm on his side because I can do so many amazing things. And maybe in business or in mentoring or maybe in medical research, maybe you do amazing things. And you're using the talent that God gives you, and people will marvel at you. Wow, look at the intellect and the creativity and what the hard work of that lady or man has done in society. But when it comes to God things, God is doing things bigger and more powerful than we can imagine. But for some of us, we're bouncing against the guardrail on the other side. I have no charisma. I have no authority. I have no money. I have little in the way of personal or political connections. There's nothing I could offer God that's of any value to God because I'm essentially a worthless person. In either one of those cases, we're not giving God the credit. We're not saying we know that Jesus can do amazing things. Like the centurion said, Jesus, I know you can do amazing things. I have faith that you can do amazing things. Jesus says, wow, I marvel at that faith, a man of your authority, and yet you're not trying to solve every problem, explain every incident on your own. You're coming to me in faith that I can and do work. Jesus is still working in the world today. And if we say, I should work harder, give more, do better, because I'm one of those top tier talents that can really make a difference, we're clearly not amazing Jesus. He's not marveling at that. He's going, pride comes before a fall. But likewise, if we say, I'm of no account, Christ couldn't get any value out of me working in the kingdom, that's still a massive insult to Jesus. Jesus isn't talking about your talent. Jesus is talking about his ability. He wants us to have faith in his ability. So think about it this way. If you give an amount of money to, say, a foreign missionary that's doing important work in a dangerous part of the world, do you think, wow, that was a lot of money and that really should be able to help them a lot? I've seen their budget and it's not that large and I just gave this huge sum of money. And I'm going to make a couple of calls and see if I can't get some other folks to pony up. And you begin to think what you need to do to further this project along because you're a catalyst, you're a driver. Or do you say, well, I may give a couple of dollars, but I can only give a few dollars. They've asked us to contact our friends about maybe doing some fundraising there, but I'm not going to be able to do any good on that front either. So you give a couple of dollars, but you sort of walk away ashamed that that's all you could give. I would say if you're hitting either one of those guardrails, then again, you're just not in the place where the centurion was. You're not in the place Luke is calling us to be, Christ is calling us to be by including this account in the gospel. Here's what I would say. Whether you gave a lot of money and contacted some friends who gave money, or whether you were only able to give a small amount of money, the question is, did you give it with the mindset? Can you pray with an honest heart, Christ, I know that you are able to do amazing things. I know you still work actively in your kingdom, and I believe that I have faith in who you are and in what you're doing in the world. So whether I gave the most amount of money tonight at the fundraiser or the least amount, it doesn't matter. What matters is what you do, Jesus. And so my prayer is, thank you for the opportunity to participate. Will you, Christ, please use the resources I gave and the resources that others gave and do big Jesus things with them, because I believe you can and I believe that you will. And I don't want credit if I gave the most, and I'm not going to be ashamed if I'm the poorest person who had to give the least. Because it's not about me, my talents, my wealth, my gift, my authority, my connections. Jesus, it's about you and what you can do. And so when we talk to others about Christ, or give a Bible, or mentor a young person, or invite someone to church, or give money to a local church or a foreign mission, is our mindset that we're doing it kind of our own volition and we're trying to figure out how to tie the pieces together to make things happen? Or do we do things to the best of our ability, but still with that humble mindset of giving it to Christ? Jesus, please use it to do the amazing things that you do, because we have faith, Christ, in who you are and what you do and how you do it, even in the world today. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, this is Andy.